The truth about gear. Hi, I'm Felipe Drago and welcome to Drago Drums, third video from the series The Truth About Drumming. So hit the subscribe button and the bell to always be updated about the series. Today we're diving into a topic that can be both exciting and overwhelming. Drum equipment, our gear, our toys, the endless options that keep our credit cards warm and our partners questioning our life choices. We've all drooled over those gorgeous custom kits in the ads and the videos and dreamed about how they transform our playing. But what's the real story behind the gear? What do you actually need versus what you're told you need? In this video, we're cutting through the marketing hype, also known as BS, to explore the reality of drum equipment, where to invest, where to save, and how to make smart choices that serve your music and your wallet. All the prices are in dollars, unless stated differently, and they are current to 2025. Let's start with the ideal perception, the equipment dream that's sold to us through ads, social media, and our own gear list. In the ideal world, professional drummers need top of the line everything. And we're talking about custom handcraft drum shells in exotic woods that can cost anything between $5,000 and $10,000. The latest flagship snare drum between $800 and $2,500. Premium cymbals in every size and variety that can cost between $2,000 and $4,000. Top tier hardware that never wears out, between $1,000 and $2,000. Boutique pedals with aerospace engineering, between $400 and infinite. And of course, new heads for every session or show. The marketing message is clear. If you want to sound professional, you need professional gear. And there's this persistent myth that expensive automatically equals better. We see our heroes playing these beautiful instruments, and naturally we think, if I had that kit, I'd sound just like them. No, you won't. True. It's the same psychology that makes people buy the same basketball shoes as their favorite players, even though the shoes aren't giving anyone a 40-inch vertical leap. This ideal creates both desire and anxiety because we think, am I good enough for this gear? Or even worse, is my gear holding me back? Let's explore what working drummers actually use and need. Now for the reality check. There's a truth that drum companies don't advertise. Many professional drummers use mid-range equipment for most of the work, if not everything. Let me introduce you to what I call the 80-20 rule for drum gear. For about 20% of the cost of a top-end setup, you can get about 80% of the sound quality. The law of diminishing returns hits hard with drum equipment. Make no mistakes, good, reliable equipment is essential, but it doesn't have to be expensive. Let's break down what actually matters in drum sound in order of importance. Number one, non-negotiable, your skills as a drummer, especially tuning ability. Number two, drum heads and how they are tuned. Number three, snare drum quality. Number four, cymbal quality. Number five, shell construction and materials. Number six, hardware quality. Notice that the actual drum shells, often the most expensive part of the kit, are fifth in the list. Many pros will tell you that heads, tuning, and the room you're playing in have far more impact on your sound than whether your shells are maple, birch, or some exotic wood. Now, the reality of playing in central London. Driving into the West End, as it's known, it's a nightmare. Remember, London is an almost 2,000-year-old city. The streets in the city center are very narrow. Street parking close to impossible. Then there's something called congestion charge between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. on weekends and holidays. It costs £15 if you pay in advance, or 17.50 if you pay before the end of the third day. If you don't pay it, it goes up to £100. Most gigs in central London on weekdays start at 8 p.m., meaning you have to start playing at 8. Then you need to be at the venue around 7 p.m. at least, which means driving into the congestion zone before 6 p.m. Paid parking is very expensive. Add the congestion charge to the parking, and most of your pay is gone. Now, most venues in the West End, they have kits. Are the kits top of the range? Nope. Are they well maintained? Nope. Do they have new top of the range drum heads? Nope. Can you play a gig with them and get paid? Yes. The venue kits aren't top of the range, sometimes not even mid range, and are usually beaten up. But if you bring your cymbals, the snare, the heart of any kit, and your pedal, providing you know how to tune a kit, you're going to sound well enough to play the gig and get paid. One advantage of growing up in the south of Brazil is that in the mid 80s, good equipment existed only in our dreams. Brazil was close to importation at the time, and the instruments made in the country were terrible. So much so that in an interview, the famous Brazilian songwriter Jobim, when asked what advice he would give to aspiring musicians who were starting in the profession, his answer was, find a good smuggler. Contraband was the only way to have quality instruments. All of that to say that not only I had to learn how to play the instrument, I also had to make whatever I could get my hands on work. I can pretty much fix any problem on the fly. Pedal leather strap breaks, give me a knife or a pair of scissors, I'll punch a hole in it and I'll make it usable in 5 minutes. Kick drum better head breaks, no problem. Turn the kick around and play on the front head. Tom heads are worn out, Moondell fixes it in no time. All these things have already happened to me at least once. The other thing about central London, spaces are tiny, and if there's a stage, it's even tinier. So a 22-inch bass drum, 3 toms, 2 floor toms, 10 cymbals won't fit in the venue, let alone the stage. While I'd love to play every gig with my main top of the range kit, let me show you the kit that I use the most. I can fit everything on a trolley, and the hardware goes in a regular backpack. Remember the nightmare of driving and parking in the West End? Well, I don't have that with this kit because I can take it on the tube, subway, or on the bus. In the past, I used a Roland TD12 that I bought in 2009. It still works and sounds great, but this small kit is much easier to carry and set up. And the best part, I don't need an amp or a mixer. Reliability, consistency, and ease of setup become more important than having every possible sound option. If your groove is consistent and the band can rely on you, you have more than enough. Another aspect of equipment reality is maintenance. The more gear you have, the more maintenance you'll need to perform. Here's what the average working drummer might spend annually on maintenance. Drum heads between $200 to $500, depending on how much you play and how hard you hit. Sticks. If you play a good durable brand, the costs are minimal. I play Baalbek's stick, and each pair lasts way more than 6 months. At £12 a pair, let's say, I spent less than £50 a year on them. Cymbal replacement between $200 to $600. They do crack eventually, but if you know how to set them up on the stand and know how to play them, a good cymbal can last a lifetime. This crash cymbal here is over 40 years old, still sounds great, and have no cracks. Hardware parts between $50 and $200, cases and protections between $100 and $300, miscellaneous accessories between $100 and $300. So that's a potential of $850 to $2,300 per year to maintain what you already own. And unless you're playing for a big artist or your band is doing really well, professional drummers need to be their own techs, and you need to know to change and tune heads efficiently, make minor hardware repairs, properly pack and transport your equipment, and troubleshoot common issues as I mentioned before. These skills are just as important as your paradiddles and your flams. Yes, they are. And here is the harsh reality. Gear gets damaged. Road cases get dropped, cymbals crack, and hardware fails. Professional equipment needs to be reliable under stress, which doesn't always mean the most expensive option. So, where should you actually invest your money? Well, based on my own experience and conversations with other working drummers, here's a strategic approach. Number one and most important, invest in your ears first. That's no joke. Quality ear protection is non negotiable. Ears get damaged with high volumes, and especially being exposed to high volumes for years and years and years, hours on end. And your hearing is one of the most valuable things you have because you're a musician. You need your ears. Second, buy the best snare drum you can afford. It's the voice of your kit, it's your voice. Number three, prioritize quality cymbals. They're difficult to upgrade with tuning. There's no tuning cymbals. Number four, get solid mid-ranged shells. Focus on versatility. The same goes to the snare. Number five, don't skimp on hardware, especially stands that are holding expensive cymbals. Number six, develop a relationship with a drum tech or a drum shop. Expert advice saves a lot of money. Let me show you now what I consider essential versus nice to have. Essentials. One, versatile kit with good heads. You're going to be able to work all the time. Two to three quality cymbals, quality hi-hat, quality crash, quality ride. You're set. Reliable hardware that won't collapse. Proper cases for transportation, very important. And tuning tools and spare parts. You always need spare parts. You don't know what's going to happen during the gig. What's nice to have? Multiple kits for different sounds, extensive cymbal collection, boutique snares for specific sounds, vintage or collector pieces. That's very nice to have, but not very practical. Here's another pro tip. The used market is your friend. Drums don't really wear out if they're well maintained, and you can find professional quality gear at significant discounts. Many pros I know, me included, buy used gear, especially for touring. It hurts a lot less when your used $100 cymbal cracks than when your new $500 cymbal cracks. Believe me. More than once, I had to play with instruments that weren't the best, to put it mildly, but I had my snare drum, my cymbals, and my pedal, so I could make it work. But there were two bad situations. One where the kit was so beat up that two of the floor tom legs were worn out drumsticks. I'm not kidding. This is true. Needless to say, that the first time I played the floor tom, the whole thing collapsed. I got really angry and I left the stage mid song. My bandmates, not seeing what had happened, were baffled to see me walking past them. The crowd thought it was part of the band's theatrics, while the sound guy scrambled on stage with a roll of duct tape to try to fix it the best he could. I managed to finish the gig. And you know what? It wasn't great, but it was fine. The audience had no idea I was playing on a kit that was terrible and falling apart. And it was a powerful reminder that while good equipment makes playing more enjoyable, your skills and ability matter far more than your gear. But the worst of them all happened a long time ago, mid 90s in Brazil. I was playing a few gigs with a very famous singer from the south, and we traveled around 4 hours to play in a seaside town. There was no way I could go back home and back in time to play if anything went wrong. As usual, the manager sent the rider in advance stating the equipment needed for the gig to happen, drum kit included. And the promoter assured the management that they were on top of everything. As we got there, we found out that there were no amps. Guitar, bass, keys, and accordion had to go straight into the mixer. And, as you might guess by now, no drum kit. This time, not even my snare, cymbals, and pedals saved me. The band had to perform without drums that day. At the end of the day, drums are tools to make music. The best gear is whatever helps you express yourself reliably and, most important, joyfully. Sometimes that's a custom kit, sometimes it's a well tuned starter set. What is your approach to drum gear? Are you a minimalist or a collector? What's the best equipment investment you've made? Share in the comments below. In our next video, we'll explore the truth about touring life, the glamour, the grind, and everything in between. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Until next time, and remember, it's not the arrow, it's the archer. But obviously, a good arrow helps. See you next time.